How do some people get through it and others don't? What if this had happened? What if that had happened? Shouldn't I have done this? Shouldn't I have done that?
You don't actually visualize losing one of your buddies. You don't really think that the buddy you're talking to is going to be gone tomorrow in a quite horrific way.
We were pretty much getting shot at every single day. Between Taliban, between drug dealers, local thugs that just didn't want us there.
You're trying to get over the fact that this guy just lost his legs, and the next day, another guy loses an arm. Another guy gets shot. Somehow the bullet misses all his protective armor and slides right into his chest, and he's done.
I was a retired Marine Corps captain. Severely wounded as a platoon commander in the First Battle of Fallujah in April of 2004.
Staff Sergeant in the Marines, infantry by trade. I've been in the Marine Corps for 20 years.
A Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps with Bravo Company, 1st Battalion, 26 Marines.
As a reconnaissance Marine, I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan and have been involved in over 100 enemy engagements.
The Marine Corps, it stirred my soul. So I joined the Corps. My desire was just to get into front lines. I was a 0341 mortarman, 60mm mortar. Navy Cross, Purple Heart. We had a lot of combat.
I was the first one to qualify in all 3 special forces of SOCOM, and now I'm working for the 4th one, MARSOC.
I'm a retired military chaplain. I retired after 26 years of service. I served in 5 different war zones with every elite and special operations group America has.
I've had over 13 deployments, a couple of combat deployments, including a recent deployment to Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
13 April, my company commander pushed me from my platoon defensive position that was in enemy territory. He said there were 10 to 15 enemy armed with small arms. He said, you need to go kill them. So like, roger that. We pulled up and got them in the crossfire, and everything was working all right. And we punch up, we look to the right, they're not there. So I was gonna punch forward and try to look for them. As soon as we did, we stepped off in ambush. It was like stepping on an ant bed. I mean, freaking enemy were just everywhere. And they started coming out of the woodworks, and I mean, you couldn't shoot at them enough. Taking RPGs, like they were freaking throwing confetti at us. It was a hellacious experience.
There was never a day that went by that I didn't think of 25 February. 3rd Platoon from Bravo Company ran a patrol that was supposed to stay close to our perimeter. They went out that way and ended up between trench lines that the enemy had dug. And 3rd Platoon was virtually wiped out, 2 squads from my platoon went out, not really knowing what we were getting into. We were hit by an L-shaped ambush that destroyed our squad.
I remember there was this individual, the sergeant that I worked really closely with, and then just one day he wasn't with us anymore. He took a headshot, just a random headshot out on patrol, and he was gone. A few days later, after everything settled, I had to take his gear to the major installation nearby, and you have to inventory every single piece of gear, including the 62 pictures that he had in a small little family album. Seeing his wife and his kids, and that memory will always be with me.
Lieutenant there hollered at me to get down, and I remember turning this way, and all of a sudden I got greased. And it was ironic that they got me with the same thing I'd been getting them with, 60 or 61mm mortar. They didn't use thread to hold me together, they used wires to hold me together. Both hands are immobile. My right leg wired up, immobile. The doc said, you may as well accept this, you're not gonna walk again or use your hands.
I took an RPG to the back of my right thigh. It basically shredded off the whole back half of my right leg. Blew off my hamstrings from my butt to my back of my knee. It was totally disintegrated, all my nerves, hamstrings, tendons, just filleted. I lost peripheral vision in my right eye and cracked 18 teeth in my mouth, and I was freaking done.
In a small village in Iraq, just kept getting mortared every day. So basically, wanted to come up with a plan to stop it. They got one mortar off, and we all came up over the ledge, and we opened fire on them. Unfortunately, these guys had a ditch that they were able, 3 of them, were able to get down in this ditch. One of our engineers was the front man for that assault force. Enemy fighter stood up, engaged him with an AK, died right there, and then his team leader's arms.
And I remember one time walking toward the company CP, the command post bunker, with another guy, and we heard a round coming in, and he went one way and I went the other, and he was killed. I wasn't touched. That sort of thing happened.
I've seen combat before, but I'd never seen indiscriminate killing. The alarms would go off, and you were supposed to hit the bunkers, but you were just talking to Doc, who just got a phone call from home. He went out one door, you went out the other one, and the mortar landed on him. So you wonder to yourself, this isn't making sense. This isn't anything I could have trained for. You don't train to go out one door. You don't train to take a left instead of a right. It was just indiscriminate killing.
It's difficult for me to say I counseled people with PTSD but didn't have it, because I did and did not know it.
I didn't think I had issues. And then I realized we've all got issues and we deal with them daily. If you're not dealing with issues, then you're not telling yourself the truth.
And you spend your time over there and you dodge bullets and you dodge bombs, but you can't dodge what gets put in your head.
My wife noticed something wrong with me. She didn't tell me at the time, but she told my daughter. She said he's not himself. And what it was me trying to make sense out of indiscriminate killing.
What was happening slowly and slowly without me knowing it, I was just kind of closing in on myself.
I scored out of 100 possible points, 100 being the worst PTSD you can have, I scored 99.
When my wife saw a list of the 23 symptoms of PTSD, she said, I own 21 and I camped occasionally on the other 2. They're not pretty.
Anxiety, flashbacks, waking up in the middle of the night.
I was irritable all the time, angry all the time. I would have flashbacks. All of a sudden, I'm not here.
Refused to make any type of decision making whatsoever. Just totally removed myself from that
I
capacity.
had no motivation to do anything. There would be times when I'm looking at the world like the wrong way through a pair of binoculars.
I was also real short with the kids. You know, I could handle them on me for a little bit, and then I'd just be like, get off me now.
This PTSD thing shows itself in relationships quickly, and that's where you begin to see the damage first.
For the next 10 years, I proceeded to put Liz through hell. If somebody would have caused my wife 1/10 of the pain that I caused her, I would have killed them.
I would just pick apart my wife. Just pick her apart. The easiest thing to do. Hell, I'm voiding out, don't want to talk to anyone else. Well, let's find something wrong with Renee. You're not doing that right. You're not doing this right. What the hell's wrong with you? It was destroying a relationship.
I resented the fact that people tried to blow me up and couldn't. They shot bullets at me that were pinging off the ground next to me and couldn't kill me. But from a distance, what they did could destroy my relationships.
She got in my face, which was, at that time, the wrong move. I grabbed her by the neck, lifted her 1.5 feet off the deck, put her up against the wall, and just my whole outside perimeter just went like in a blur.
I had a hole inside me, and I tried to use anything I could to fill that hole. I didn't know what it'd take.
You can't go back and be naive. PTSD is not something that I'm going to get over. And now I have to come to terms with what this new human being is and what this new human being is going to do. I have come to the conclusion that it takes more guts, more courage to face yourself and what's inside you than it does to face any enemy out there.
When I first got diagnosed with PTSD, I was so thankful that, hey, there's a reason I'm not like everybody else.
The worst thing you can do is pretend it's okay. It isn't.
I know so much about psychology and PTSD and my experiences, and I said, it's still kicking my butt. I can't have faith in psychology. I can understand psychology, but I need a lot more than that.
You'll never be able to fight this fight on your own. You'll never be able to fight it without God.
And I said, you know what? I said, I can't do this anymore, and I won't do this anymore. I said, I'm gonna give it to God because I can't do this anymore.
And all those old verses I'd read many times before as a kid, all of a sudden, poof, 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 they make sense. And I said, God, I don't even know who you are. I'm so sorry I've made such a mess of my life. Please come in and forgive me and take control.
It's been a release. I've been able to just, all the crud that I carry on my chest and my heart and on my back, just be able to try to get rid of it. I said, enough's enough. I drew a line in the sand, reached out to God. He who asks for the Lord's help shall receive, and then I received it.
And I just pray to God, please give me the strength to keep myself together.
There's no doubt in my mind that it was God Almighty throughout my life that has kept me, one, alive, and who has placed this path in front of me. I couldn't be more blessed.
I've realized my purpose in life. I didn't know it earlier, but my purpose in life is to walk and work with God. If I can remember that that's my purpose, I got no complaints.
It's not going to be easy, but I have a sense of confidence. I have a sense of release, knowing that everything in my life is going to be okay as long as I remain committed.
I feel that I've definitely fallen apart, without somebody to talk to, without somebody being there to give me that strength. I can't ever say enough how thankful I am for the assistance that he's given me.
So let me ask you, we're sitting in front of each other today. How's life working for you? Put it on a timeline. Starting with today, go back a week, a month, a year. When's the last time you yelled at your kid? When's the last time you got aggressive with your wife? Drinking, voiding out? Put it on a timeline. Now PTSD is not so elusive. You have the facts in front of you, and it's something that you can use. The reasons why you're doing these things come from a long list of emotions and feelings that you don't know how to process. Maybe you feel ashamed or afraid to admit that you were scared in your combat experiences. Maybe you're driving down the road and you're just crying for whatever reason because you heard a song, saw something, and you don't understand why. But bottom line, I think what each of us want to be able to do is validate that every single one of those feelings from your experiences are absolutely real. And each one of us can tell you that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you for feeling those feelings. We'll all tell you that it takes honesty, effort, and communication. If you're not being honest with yourself, if you're not being honest with a loved one, with somebody that's trying to help you, you're being dishonest. Bottom line, effort. It takes steps to fail, just as it takes steps to succeed. You don't want to go to the extremes as I did with my wife. We want to be able to get you to start taking the positive steps. And lastly, communication. Your communication base needs to be rooted in a spiritual foundation. Nothing penetrates that base. Each one of you here will face the realities of combat. What we have found is God doesn't waste pain. We've also found that through faith, we've been able to heal, we've been able to grow. There's a lot of material here for you to look at, process. It's free. It's been provided by various faith-based groups. But bottom line is, you need this information. You have to have it. You need to dive deep down into it and understand what it means for you. Each one of us here are going to be praying three things for you. One, I'm going to pray that you and your loved ones pick up this material, use it, dive deep down into it, and understand it. Two, we're going to pray for the strength we all know that you need for this ass-kicking that you're about to encounter. And three, we're going to continue praying that God shows you His purpose that He has for your life. Well, thank you, and God bless you.